Hey everyone, so in this discussion I'm going to be focusing on the energy systems of our body and the three different types of energy systems that our body has, which is ATP-PC, aerobic and anaerobic energy systems. If we start with ATP-PC, the most important fact of this is, the type of exercises that you can expect from ATP-PC to be utilized as an energy system is quick movements, quick type of exercises. Powerful movements that don't last for a long period of time, such as a shot put throw or a pitcher, for example. Those would be two different types of movements that would require you to use ATP-PC. It's an anaerobic exercise, which means that the oxygen is not required for this kind of exercise. This type of energy system. What you want to do during this type of exercise is make sure that you are doing a lot of interval training. That's going to actually enhance your ATP-PC system. You can actually do a lot of interval training with a 1-to-4 ratio, which means that you can require them to do these type of movements, or you can require them to do these type of running activities, aerobic activities, and then require them to kind of bring their heart rate down, and then again, like have them run a lap, for example, and then rest for 4 laps, or for 2 laps, or for 3 laps. It's 1-to-4 ratio is recommended, so I guess have them do high intensity workout for 1 minute with non-stop, and then have them just all of a sudden rest, but not sit, just walk, don't want to sit. So the ergogenic aid for PC is going to be creatine. And creatine is a substance that is naturally produced by our body through a moderate diet, but you can also take capsules, for example, supplements, but it's not highly recommended. They have side effects, and I personally wouldn't recommend it or take it. I feel like it ruins the nature of the sport to take any kind of supplements when you work out. But I guess sometimes it might be required and actually warranted, so it can be an option. The second system that I'm going to be discussing is the anaerobic system. The anaerobic system, it's important to know that it doesn't require oxygen. I've noted that before for the ATP-PC. But the way to enhance ATP anaerobic systems are to do a 70 to 85% of the athlete's maximum heart rate, get it up there. You can do interval training again. High intensity training is very important. That's going to be very important to kind of enhance the anaerobic exercises. Anaerobic activities include weight training. There are different types of anaerobic activities where sprinting would be an anaerobic activity, which doesn't require a lot of oxygen. It's really quick. You're not going long distance. You're just doing these quick types of activities. Weight training is probably the most prominent anaerobic activity that I can think of. The way you want to, you can look at the anaerobic threshold, which focuses on the system. The goal is to train the body's ability to tolerate lactic acid through training. I guess there was, in the presentation, there was a discussion on lactic acid and how it's kind of always blamed for muscle soreness, but it's not always the case, because you can kind of train your body to become accustomed to lactic acid. I've done it personally. I remember when I first started working out with high intensity, I always felt sore, and I always blamed it on lactic acid. But it's eventually like that soreness just became like a normal feeling in the body. But there are ergogenic aids, which is baking soda. Baking soda is alkaline, so it helps balance the acidity in the body. You want to be at a neutral pH, ideally. There are different types of foods you can eat to kind of help promote an alkaline-based body and a diet. I guess raw foods would be alkaline. You want to stay away from The kind of processed foods, chips would be acidic. Uh, there are also raw foods that are acidic, and there's a chart you can find online, I'm sure, that says acidic, alkaline, and there's also alkaline water. Um, so you can help, you know, or coconut water works great. It's highly alkaline, so I would recommend drinking coconut water to help balance the acidity in the body. Um, yeah, and the third one I want to discuss is going to be aerobic exercises. And aerobic exercises do require oxygen. I mean, they're exercises that you're out there and you're running, or you're also swimming, for example. That would be a great exercise, aerobic exercises. If you're focusing on breathing, I guess it can be anaerobic. If you're not breathing underwater, and you're going for a short distance, it can be anaerobic. But in general, swimming would be an aerobic exercise if you're focusing on breathing. Um, so the aerobic system is trained by light to moderate intensity activity to 60 to 75%. Depending on the current fitness level and days of training, 6 to 12 months, it can be achieved. So you want to work regularly on this. You don't want to give up. I mean, eventually, like, it's a progressive kind of activity that you want to do. Aerobic activities are always progressive. I'll tell you, when I started running regularly, I just started at 3 miles, but then eventually I felt like, I can put an extra lap on the track, 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 and then it came out to 4 miles. So it's kind of like a progressive type of workout. Eventually your body becomes trained to it, accustomed to you always getting the heart rate up there, and that's kind of what aerobic exercises require, is for you to get your heart rate going at a high rate. So there are genetic aids for aerobic exercises. That's blood doping. And iron. Iron is very, very, very important for our body. There are people that are iron deficient. For example, my grandfather, he's iron deficient. My mom is iron deficient. So, I mean, what iron does for the body is it's an important part of the aerobic system, because iron makes hemoglobin, which is the protein in the red blood cells that carry oxygen from the lungs to the body, which I'm quoting the presentation. So iron deficiency causes less carrying capacity and experience energy loss and fatigue. So you want to be really energetic when you're on a track, for example, or in the pool. You want to have your body, energized and be ready to perform these activities. Caffeine is a very effective mode to provide you with energy. I mean, like, you can not iron, but it provides you with energy. So it releases fatty acids in the body, and the body will use this first during aerobic activity and save and spare the available carbs. So it kind of enhances your aerobic exercises. I wouldn't recommend coffee as a source of caffeine. I mean, a lot of people drink coffee. I personally don't. I know it's really effective, and I know a lot of people rely on it to get through the day and through the exercise, and I'm all for it. But at the same time, I feel like there's different ways to obtain caffeine. I mean, through natural types of foods. I personally like to drink kombucha, which is an organic raw tea, but it's also, it's really energetic. I mean, I always drink it before and sometimes after a workout, and it's great, It's kind of my treat, for working out hard. I try to approach those raw, natural types of alternative methods for, getting caffeine in my body. So I feel like that's a great alternative method.